Welcome to Tanks Up, the podcast about video games and craft beer. I'm Ben, and I'm here with Lucy.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. Very mellow Friday afternoon.
I know.
Or
Chilled out Friday evening. And another slightly chilled out Friday evening person whose eyes are darting all about the places. Aadil.
Hey. I've switched setups, and now I actually have to look at Ben and Lucy and get distracted by myself. So I'm just going to look more manic than usual.
You look like you've never been here before, and like this is your first podcast. You're like,
Yes.
What's going on?
Definitely. Although I'm unhappy with how new camera setup shows more, let's say, the post-traveling clutter than I wanted to.
I can't
It does
see that.
show off the painting that my niece made for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's a unicorn named Vincent with hearts.
Yeah, I can tell it, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice pinky
Just
ready
make it
border to it as well.
Yeah, and then my much younger nephew made that.
Purple sky. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe he's been listening to a lot of Prince.
But also, there's that cross-stitch tanked up logo,
Nice, yeah.
and there's the surprise from Canada,
Ooh.
which you guys will see when we're all in the same place.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Soon, in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that will just go to slightly less messy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. A good start
That looks
to
like
this
orderly.
episode.
I
Sorry?
mean, you should see my room. Like, everything's just literally just thrown on the bed right now. Cause it's like get everything out of frame, yeah, and just throw it all on there.
I definitely didn't have a beer in bed yesterday.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's the
it's
only
fine.
place to drink beer.
Yeah.
In your bed
best
and in the
place.
shower.
Yeah.
Although
On
somehow
bus.
you can't see the switch on the bed, which seems like not good. Anyway, so yes, I'm not used to the framing of what's going on.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't think anyone will worry about it. What I am worried about though is I'm at least 10 minutes without having a beer. So I can open a beer up.
Yep.
I suggest we all do so. I am
Yeah.
going to start with a beer from Pressure Drop called Saratoga Springs. It's a double dry hopped pale ale at 5.8%. It has some notes. The tasting notes are pineapple, ripe melon, and citrus. The hops are Citra and Sabro. It's a New England style pale ale with 16 grams per litre of two of the fruitiest hop varieties. Hazy, juicy beer with a smooth, silky mouthfeel. There we go.
That sounds like a beer for the weather today.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Exactly
back
why I
hot.
picked it, Lucy.
Yeah. And I had a limited selection of beers to pick from,
Okay.
but they both suit the weather also.
Nice.
So,
Good. What are you having? What are you starting with?
I'm starting with a Little Ray from Magic Rock. It's a guava, mango, and passion fruit Berliner Weiss.
Nice.
It's 4.3%. Malts are Golden Promise, wheat malt, and acidulated malt. Hops are T90 Cascade, Denali, and Chinook. The other ingredients are guava, mango, and passion fruit. So hopefully it isn't just like, just flavour in. They've actually put the actual fruit in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, 330ml can this one comes in. Because it's a Berliner Weiss, maybe people don't want a lot of a sour beer, so...
Yeah, fair.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice. Aadil, what have you got?
I've got the Adnams Southwood Mosaic Pale Ale to start.
Ah.
You can get more easily in. I spotted this actually in the co-op by the university. They usually only carry the more common Adnams, which I'm forgetting, but they had a few of these as well.
Yeah.
It's made with, you guessed it, mosaic hops. This pale blonde has bags of bold mango, peach, lemon, and pine flavors with a dry hoppy finish. Big and fruity, it's a one-hop wonder. The malts are Pale Ale Pilsner Munich. IBU is 41, and it's great with lightly spiced dishes such as lamb tagine or Thai fish cakes.
Nice.
Always
Nice.
best served chilled. It's a light 4.1%.
Can't remember if I've had that one.
Yeah, that's why I started. It's news to me.
Yeah, because I did remember seeing. Oh, that's a new ad. I'll pick that up. I'm not sure if it was in that one. Might have been, because if it's Mosaic, that's like, flies on shit
Yeah.
compared to me and Mosaic Hop. So yeah, just straight for it.
Just grab every single, even just mention of Mosaic ever.
Yes.
Good. So, Saratoga? Yes, Saratoga Springs. It smells nice. It's a lovely light colour. Really light yellow sort of straw. Very, very hazy. A little bit of head. It's quite carbonated, but that head is super, super thin on there. And I'm getting a nice amount of fruit off that nose.
Yeah.
We've been talking. We've mentioned a lot about pineapple in beers being really difficult to do, but we are seeing a little bit of it's not quite. I was going to say mastery, but it's not quite. But pineapple does seem to be getting much more pronounced in the beers that we're sort of getting. I don't know whether it's this introduction of Sabro, which I've seen popping up a lot more recently.
I've never come across it till now, or might have inadvertently and subconsciously, but yeah.
Oh! I mean, that is unmistakably pineapple. Straight away.
Nice.
You've got this slight sweetness, a slight kind of, a pineapple almost, you get that sweetness, and then it kind of tries to go a little bit bitter, but it just sort of like dulls down that sweetness very, very slightly. It becomes a little bit maybe pithy.
Right.
And I'm getting a lot of that in this.
I had pineapple yesterday, and it was great.
Nice.
Oh, I love pineapple.
Fresh pineapple.
The
Just
melon.
a pain to cut, though.
Yeah.
That's true. Yes.
That's why I have my people do it for me.
The melon kicks through on this right at the end, which is nice. The smell, the nose is very similar to the flavour, which I'd kind of expect. It's double dry hopped pale ale. So I'd imagine in the mix, it's they've used the hops, kind of balance them sort of throughout the brew. So not quite getting the citrus, even though it says in the tasting notes pineapple, ripe melon, and citrus. The pineapple definitely dominates, which is really nice. It's good to have that. Pineapple's a nice flavour. It's good to have that as that kind of like as the biggest thing going on, and then that melon kind of kicking in a little bit just to drag it down, just to give it that little bit of bitterness. It follows on quite nicely from the pineapple. That pithy kind of slightly duller, bitter end to the pineapple flavour goes in quite well with that melon. So yeah, that's really nice. So as you can tell, sort of like super easy, just sort of like chugging it back.
What was the percent on that again?
5 point something, I believe.
5.4?
5.8.
8. Oh, okay.
So, relatively light, I suppose, for a beer that we drink. So yeah, really nice, really well balanced.
That's not true. We definitely gravitate away from sessiony stuff.
Just a tad. Just a tad.
Not today.
No. Lucy, how's yours? Although you've got a beer which is a bit more session strength.
Yeah, 4.3 was it? This when I first poured it, had a nice, beautiful, like frothy white head, like 2-3 fingers. But yeah, just smelling it, getting like it smells like pop. It smells like like Rubicon mango. Getting like that little fizz as well.
Like not quite like almost like fruit juicy sort of mango. Kind of, a slightly sweetened.
Yeah, and you're definitely getting that slightly in the taste, like that bit of sweet, not bit of sweetness.
Yeah.
In it, maybe that's just because they are like sweet fruits, especially like mango, and the passion fruit and the guava probably what gives it more of its sourness, but it is sour still. But this is just the beer I needed. Like earlier, I had the Northern Monks Project. I think it's a 19.01 or something. Their grape soda IPA, and it was like I'm not a massive fan of like grape soda anyway. And it had like a creamy texture to it, so it was quite dense, and it's like, it just wasn't what I needed. It's like I just wanted something just to cut through everything.
Yeah. I know. You're zooming in and out for people not watching.
I found the thing I was looking for, and it does work. And I thought I could do it stealthily. I didn't think it was that distracting. I apologize.
Boom.
It's very drastic.
Yep, that's me. Even when I'm not verbally derailing, managed to do it.
It's okay. I'll accept that. But yeah, it's just, it's not too sharp, but it's just sharp enough and like to be refreshing and just perfect for a day like this. And I just want to chug it. Like I smelt it as you were drinking your beer. I was like, I'll try and wait. And I was like, no, just a little sip, like, yeah, this I could down this. It's not that sour. It's like, mouth puckeringly sour. It's like, you need to take a break between sips because it's still like that sourness on your lips and tongue. This, easy. I'm just gonna drink it. I'm gonna shut up and drink it.
Nice.
Drink it all. It's been a whole week since I've had beer.
What?
Ooh.
Oh, I definitely
Saturday
had
to
lots
Friday.
of beer in Vienna.
And Dublin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So first of all, my pour was exceedingly heady. I haven't had a sip.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Bad pour, but it's an interesting. Like the head is very thick and creamy. I mean, it's just clinging to the glass as it dissipated. Like it looks like I had a pint and have just quaffed it several times, but this is just the head slowly retreating. I don't know if you can see. No, you can't. Not without spilling, but there's like a core, almost like an island, like it's that sort of solid.
Yeah.
Super fruity on the nose. I'm getting a little bit of that peach. Mostly tropical. Oh, it's really refreshing. This is today's beer.
Yeah.
I mean, it tastes like a really good example of a mosaic. Again, because it's 4%, it's not lingering, and also that means like that bitterness that sort of comes in the finish doesn't last very long.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of a bit sweet, after 20 seconds. I mean, there's the lingering hoppiness. I was hoping, because they mentioned pine, that I get a little more of that resiny bitterness, but if it's there, it doesn't last very long. Yeah, between that light percentage and that really sort of quick taste curve, and it being 3:30, this will not last long. It's hot. I'm thirsty. It tastes good. I like the taste. Taste doesn't linger. That's a recipe for I should have grabbed 3 beers.
Yeah, it's like I don't even want to talk anymore. I just want to sit and drink this beer. This can be the ASMR podcast where we just sit for an hour.
We need to get a little bit deeper and a little bit slower. We can
hold
talk
on.
about our beers very.
Do I have any left in the can? I can just do like a drip drop.
It's that form of like Chinese torture or something. That's not ASMR. Slowly dripping water.
Yeah, on them. It's the feeling of the water hitting you, making you feel like you're drowning.
Right.
It's not the sound.
Well, it would be for me.
So there's definitely some like relaxation / sleep aid apps that are like it plays rain noises. That sounds awful for you.
No, continuous rain, but like a steady drip of a tap that you forgot to turn off properly, and it's like I should get up, turn it off, but I'm so tired. That's torture.
Good to know. I know exactly what to splice in my audio stream next time.
We've been gone a week, and now we're back talking about torture techniques. So.
Business.
What a week off does.
It's what a week off does. We've forgotten what we're meant to be talking about.
I think we've all got heat stroke.
I mean, between jet lag, not eating a bunch, heat. Yeah, it should be fun. Fun.
Let's begin then. I'm going to kick off this week.
Yes, please do.
I'm going to talk about a game I've been playing recently, which is going to lead us into a little bit of a... Huh?
Don't worry about it.
He's called you a nerd.
Nerd!
I didn't. I said it must be a sport game if you're going to kick off.
Oh, I thought you said a board game.
No.
To be
He
fair,
was playing a lot of board games.
I went
last
away
week,
I went away last weekend and played a lot of board games.
Oh, okay, new segment. What board games did you play?
Oh shit! Secret Hitler, great.
Oh, fuck, that game's
Secret Hitler's
fun.
really cool.
I've only played it once.
Yeah, we played several rounds. You know, like continuously. We
I
played
mean,
for
that
a
type
couple
of
hours.
imperfect information game is meant to be like, get a group of people, learn the game, and then the subsequent rounds get more fun.
Exactly, because you all understand each other's sort of, you know, whether they might be lying, kind of what
And, like,
they may be giving away and things like that.
What type of thing you might lie about, what
Exactly.
type of thing you might want to hide lying about, etc.
Is that like...
we-
I can't remember the card
Coop?
game we used to play. No, is it Mafia or
Oh yeah, Werewolf or Mafia.
Pig or
Oh, yeah, we played
something-
Werewolf as
something
well.
like
Oh man,
that. Yeah, I used to play something similar. In
oh wait, was it Mafia 3?
Hey.
Mafia 2... 1 would have been near sixth form. The first
Not
Mafia.
based
still
on
don't
the
know what a
same
sixth form is.
franchise,
I
I
presume-
wouldn't imagine.
I presume sixth form is when you go Super Saiyan
College,
3 and you lose
yes,
your
it is.
eyebrows and your hairs get really long.
Yep.
That's sixth
Well,
form.
that's where it all
Forms
starts going
everywhere.
downhill. So,
Yeah, that's completely what happened to me in sixth form. My
It's
hair
when
just
you're
grew
17.
exponentially.
So I think it's when you're about 16 to 18. So, don't know what that is in Canada. Some kind of ecole in Canada. Yeah.
University age then, isn't it? Rush them through the education system. Get them out. Get them out of work.
Well, they are
what else did
smarter
I
than
play?
us Brits, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What else did I play? I
Did you
also played Mysterium.
Oh
is
yeah,
that
I've heard really
okay.
good things about that.
So yeah, that's it's like a co-op game. You're moving through stages, and you have to you get given a card, and you've got to kind of understand the meaning of the card to then place your token on something. So it's kind of like Cluedo. You have to pick a person, you then have to pick a place, you then have to pick a weapon, based on you know what a game master has determined for you to then try and help understand, because they're a ghost, understand how they have died. So each player gets a set of 3 cards: a person, a place, and a weapon. And you're doing this through like dream phases. So you get given this very abstract art card, and they're all beautiful art cards. But you know, you might find a card which it's covered in birds. It's the sea. There may be swords sticking out of the sea, mountains in the background. Like, you know, it can be quite abstract in certain ways. But you kind of get a sense of invasion. Oh, thank you. Is that Evelyn? Brilliant. You going out?
I thought I might get it still.
You're going out. All right, party. Go and party. Sorry, interruption because Kim's leaving me to go and party next door. All right.
Okay,
Have a nice time.
I'll come back.
All right. Oh, I'm sure you will come back at some point. That's fine.
No, she's gone forever now.
She's gone forever. She's left me with the baby.
She's...
Who knows? Kim played
You'll
this series
get
as well.
the-
She loved it.
You'll get the divorce papers slid under the doors.
Yeah,
It's
so
in like 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
from what I've seen, I've
After
only
the
ever seen
flight,
like Let's Plays of it. The cards have a bunch of different things on them. Like it might be a picture of an attic with a certain color palette, but then there'll be
Yes.
like a chandelier and a chair and like maybe a cane, and then because they're sort of linear objects, circular objects, different color palettes, you can sort of, the person could use that card to try and give you a clue. Like that same card could be used in different set games as
Exactly.
like, it's a straight thing, it's a sword, or
Yep.
you know, there's a big blue window, so that looks like the sea, or like whatever. So it's
Exactly that. Yeah.
a lot of it is if you don't get it on the first set of cards, the next round they'll give you a different card, and you're trying to draw the conclusion of why would they give me these 2 cards.
Yeah, it's all about that interpretation. Like, it's really
Yeah.
interesting, and I would imagine that it's one of those games that you can continue. You know, you can play and play and play and play with loads of different people taking that role as the ghost, and because their interpretation of what they're giving you is going to be completely different to what someone else would do, to kind of match up and try and get you to figure that out. So that was a really interesting one, but that took a good portion of our evening.
I would say that's like an hour-long game with learning.
Yeah, exactly. We played a few smaller games. It's no, well, we didn't play anything that scale. We didn't play anything kind of like Risk scale.
Yeah, I see it as if it's shorter than Monopoly, it's fine.
Yeah, I think everything we played was shorter.
I play Monopoly by the rules with a pretty cutthroat strategy, and it's a quick game.
We knew you were a capitalist all along.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, the actual rules people mostly flout, and that's what makes it long.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you don't buy a property when you land on it, it goes up for auction.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's auction.
Yeah. If you don't play with the land on free parking in the middle and get some money, which is not an original rule, it's just a free space, it doesn't give you extra, then the game goes much quicker because you have a way less influx of general cash. Also, if you have someone like me who plays knowing that in order to buy a hotel, you need to have 4 houses and the extra money. You can't buy through without those houses being available, and someone on the board consistently leaves properties with 4 houses because that just uses up one set's going to use up a third of the 32 available houses. No one can ever get close to can get a hotel, and it's not worth getting the hotel to do that. That's your pro tip Monopoly strategy. You'll win all the time, even with the cheapest properties, because Boardwalk can never get to the place where it's too expensive because you've just blocked them.
You play the Dark Souls version.
Monopoly Dark Souls corner.
Yeah.
Oh, this is reading the rules and being a pedant.
Our standard pedant corner then. That's fine. We can rename it.
We'll have to make a jingle for pedants corner.
That should have been at least 300 episodes ago.
Yeah, I mean that would just be going off all episode to be honest.
So they were the sort of like they were the 2 kind of big games that I played. There were a few others which I kind of dipped in and out of a little bit. I did a lot of the cooking at the weekend, and obviously had Evelyn as well, so I kind of dipped in and out of a lot of games. They were the 2 that I can pick from the top of my mind that we played. But something I played last week, video game wise, was Draugen. This is a game from Red Thread Games, who are the people who did Dreamfall Chapters.
Oh, okay.
It was them. Okay.
Yeah. Not quite like Dreamfall Chapters. It is a walking simulator, essentially. And it's kind of like a news game. You're driven by narrative. You're pushed to certain places by the narrative. It's set in sort of like the Norwegian fjords. You go to this very small, isolated town by boat. It's you and a companion, and essentially you land on the shoreline, and there's just no one around. And you have gone there because you believe your sister is there or has been there, and you're trying to find her. So you're going around the town trying to uncover clues, and this additional kind of story builds up around this, a story about the place, a story about the people, and it's put together very well. It's kind of the one of the best things about it is definitely the voice acting and the sort of like the camaraderie between the character you play and the companion. It's voice acted very well. I find that maybe I wasn't that invested in kind of what was going on. I think it's set in the 20s.
Right, okay.
So there's a lot of 20s style chat. So, your companion's like, oh, don't be a pill. I'm like, what?
Right.
You're like, don't be a dick. Or kind of like
23 skidoo, see?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of that kind of going on, and that's fine. It works for the setting, and it works for the story that they're trying to tell. But some of that doesn't quite come across as that natural in terms of kind of like the conversation they're having, because we just don't talk like that anymore.
So,
we don't
if
use
you don't
a lot
already
of
have
these
a familiarity
terms.
with the slang.
Yes. it works well in the story that it kind of in that it takes a very left sort of turn. Suddenly you get to a point where you're like, oh shit, okay, this isn't kind of maybe what I thought was going on. There's other stuff kind of happening here with the character that you play. The reason you're here. And kind of what's going on with the town and stuff is maybe different to kind of like how it started or what you thought you were coming here for and things. It works very well.
Sounds interesting.
Pushing it is interesting, definitely. And it's quite short. It's maybe only 4 or 5 hours, maybe.
Okay. I will
Is that a good thing though?
I think that was a good thing in terms of this story and what it was delivering. I think I would like to see. So, based on the voice work and the narrative and things, one thing I'd like to see is a sequel to this, but with the characters and the relationship between them, and like the workings, the inner workings of the mind of the character that you are, kind of put onto something else. So maybe not even like a walking simulator. There were times in this where I kind of felt that it needed something more,
like actual
than just
action.
Being yes, action. Like some kind of detection, some kind of investigation,
Like Hitman mode.
No.
No. I wanted it to almost be a bit more like point and clicky.
Yeah, because I was about to ask you, is it like those Sherlock Holmes games? Is it mystery and you're talking to like the townsfolk and looking at clues around the world?
It's quite linear.
Right, okay.
In that you're like, okay, I'm here. I need to go here, and there may be a few things for me to look at in this location, but then I go into this room. And that's it. I move on to the next chapter.
So
suddenly the character's like, "Oh, I'm really tired now. I'm going to go to sleep."
So I think then again, it sounds like it seems like a news game, but the fact that it's linear sort of ruins the exploration part because you're kind of so it's not quite a news game because it's not inhabiting what makes us interesting, which is kind of wandering about is the gameplay. And if you don't have any other mechanics, that's fine. But if the wandering about is limited to blah, then it's more interactive storytelling. And if you don't have other things like that point and clicks do, where they're essentially interactive storytelling because they're super on rails, it's just you figure out how to get the next turn of the wheel on the rail is the gameplay. And here it seems like you don't have enough challenge there. Like it's like
very much
the dead zone between a point and click and a news game, just because of the mechanics and the railroading, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, completely. And there were points where suddenly. Exactly. Suddenly, I would be driven towards a certain place within the village. It's like, oh, we should go here, and I can still explore all around the village, but there are certain places that I can't go. So it's just kind of, I can walk through this place, but there's not really anything to see either. There's nothing to kind of infer from, walking through this. There's nothing to take on from this. It's just getting from that point to the next point where I then do the things I need to do for the story to move on.
It sounds like almost like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Very similar. Yes. I mean, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture had a little bit more exploration. There were lots of things in Everybody's Gone to the Rapture you didn't need to trigger to move on to the next step. A lot of exposition, a lot of spaces that you could go to and kind of get a little bit more understanding of what's going on. Yeah, a little bit more open. Whilst this is open, there's just nothing there.
Yeah. So I think the difference on like regular news games is most of them have a pretty static storyline structure that you trigger by going to the right places. But what gets you into that is that the world is interesting and why and then so like Rapture is a good example of that because you can rush through that game and you can hit the basics of the story.
Is considering how slow you walk in that game is
right. That's fair.
Overstated.
You can plod.
But you can determinedly plod through, or you can wander about, and you end up finding these things that make the people interesting and the world flusher. And it sounds like this doesn't have that flushing out. And then I think that's what I like about news games. Like, same thing with like Gone Home. Arguably is a news game,
It's
but what make
Metroidvania.
I said arguably.
Yeah.
It's a
Bless you.
Metroidvania. It's a Metroid game. It's a Metroid game. It is. You think about it.
Yeah, it does. It does have a lot of those qualities. I think that's probably what makes a news game from a walking simulator. It has those sort of Metroidvania qualities that you are also going back and forth between different spaces for that exposition. For, it's not to get a new ability to be able to progress. It's more to explore and to understand and to just experience.
Yeah, it's an epistemic Metroidvania.
Life is a Metroidvania.
Well, yes, that's very true.
Except we
And a
can't
walking
go back,
simulator
so
apes
it's not.
life pretty well, so yeah. I
Anyway.
mean, everything's the fucking same these days.
Life
That
is
was
a
the
good
topic
game.
I wanted to talk about. Postmodernism is dead. Everything is exactly the fucking same.
So I
Is this
didn't
played
realize
from
that
first person? Is it played from first person?
It is played from first person, yes.
How does it look? I mean, this is like
So
double A kind of.
I mean,
budget?
so I was playing on medium settings,
Right.
which looked a little rough. But as soon as I bumped it up, my machine chugged,
Oh,
and I mean it chugged.
so this is a
But
personal computer game.
yes, it is. It
those
is.
fjords.
I mean, in ultra settings, it looks beautiful. There is
Yeah.
a world of difference between medium and ultra settings. I settled on high settings because it looks good. Suddenly lighting and shadow is a dramatic difference in textures from medium to high. And there was a slight chug, but it was enough that I could deal with
Yeah.
to be like, actually, this is beautiful. And one
It's
thing
not
that
a
works.
Twitch-based gameplay, so
It's not. No,
Exactly, you can
exactly.
run it a bit of a chug.
Yeah, and
Chugga
the music is beautiful as well. Fits with it so well.
Norwegian mountain music.
Very orchestral.
Okay, nice. Norwegian
it's-
orchestra.
I don't think it's Norwegian orchestra. I think that I do not remember the person's name,
Right.
but it was about the
Composer.
only English name in the whole credits. So not
Where are
native
they based
Norwegian.
again?
Oh
I
wow,
believe.
it was
I mean,
developed
so-
with support from the
oh,
Norwegian
where,
Film Institute.
Oh, okay, nice.
Where are
Norwegian
Red
films,
Thread
okay.
Games based? Our games. I'm not on their about page. I'm on their. They-
Their
oh.
studio is located in downtown Oslo, Norway, and has 12 employees.
Just 12.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's impressive for a 12 person studio. And I thought, when I was looking through the credits and saw how big it was, I was like, actually, this is quite impressive for such a small studio. Dreamfall Chapters even more so.
Yeah,
thought,
I know, yeah.
For that size
I was
studio.
like,
Whether
wow.
because that game came out a long time ago now. Whether they've dropped down the amount of people, whether they brought on lots of
Yeah.
contractors for Dreamfall Chapters, I'm not sure. I mean, it was
I doubt it. I mean,
episodic
it was
kind
only
of
founded in
game, so-
2012.
2012. Was it that reason? Oh.
Yeah, and Ep 1 of Dreamfall Chapters was 2014, and it
Really?
concluded in
Yeah.
2016.
It
So,
seems like an age ago.
It does.
seems
It really
like
does.
29 when the first episode came
That's
out.
isn't so. Dreamfall Chapters is kind of a sequel, isn't it? To oh shit, it's not a sequel, or is it a sequel?
it's not.
Because there were
No,
there were
no,
two
no.
parts, wasn't there?
Yeah, because there's no. It definitely kind of is. It might be a spiritual sequel.
Oh, you're right. The
but
Longest
there's,
Journey.
The
and
Longest
Dreamfall.
Journey. That's what
Yeah.
it's called. Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, obviously I would assume a studio with a certain skill level, a certain pedigree, it's behind other kinds of games that maybe they've come together. Or I'm not reading their about page on the website. But it's made me think a little bit more that I kind of miss walking simulators. I haven't played a walking
Yeah.
simulator for a long time.
They haven't been around. It's weird.
No, like 2 or 3 years, really, that I haven't had something of this kind of experience. And I don't know whether it's just because we've moved on from them, or whether people are bringing in more mechanics.
Yeah, that's what it is. People
stop them. So something like Observation,
yes,
could be considered as a walking simulator, but it's removed enough from that.
Or it's just an adventure game.
It's an adventure game, exactly. Yeah.
I think there was a stigma around it, and it was more used as a derogatory term at the beginning, and then people started easing into it. I think possibly come full circle where it's like, no, we want more games, extra mechanics and stuff like that. And to be honest, a lot of those experiences were first time games. Like Gone Home was Fulbright's first time.
Yeah.
Studio, like
Firewatch.
Yeah,
well, I think that's the narrative side of news is really important. Like what made those interesting was developers focusing on let's get an interesting narrative, and we're small teams, so mechanics are given up in the balance, and that for a lot of those was enough. But I mean, upon the backs of that success, well, you can make a game with the same focus on narrative because you have success, and so you have money and investors involved. You have access to a team size that allow you to keep that focus on narrative, but get some more game stuff.
Yeah, and it's I'm sure we'll swing back around as everything does in this industry.
Yeah,
where we will get walking simulators again. Everyone's gonna be like, I'm sick of battle royales.
Oh, I'm sure we're gonna have like some AR Pong soon.
Isn't it all about auto chess at the moment? Everyone loving
auto chess. Yeah, it's going to be auto chess. This is the year of auto chess. Battle Royale was 2017. Next year is going to be.
Oh, but
it's just going to be the whole year of
with the Battle Royale mode in auto chess, where there are 96 different auto chess teams, and after you all hit level 10, you then pit each other against each other in a mad dash that everyone just sort of watches because there's no active gameplay, and then you're like. Half an hour later, like, I guess this team won.
The only one that hasn't disconnected yet. Because they're bored. Yeah. Who knows? I don't understand this fucking industry. I don't pretend to. Like,
I don't think anyone does. That's sort of the beauty and the curse, right?
Completely. Like, what's in fashion and...
I'm a game designer now, so I know what's up.
What?
I'm a game designer.
You're a game designer?
Well, as of 2 o'clock in the morning, I've become a full-time game designer.
Oh, is that what you're going to talk about this week, Lucy?
No.
Oh, just tell us a little bit about it now, then.
Super Mario Maker 2 is great. Pick it up. Nice. I've been making my level in the spare time that I've had today. And, yeah, I was happy with how my first level turned out.
Yeah.
Aadil should buy the game. And
I did minutes before the podcast started. I
Why are we recording now then? Hang up.
I've played the first 2 story mode missions.
Yeah.
And then I realized that switching rule sets I'm not built as easily for as I thought. So like there was one moment. Second story mode is like regular Super Mario Brothers. And I totally tried to pick up a shell, which of course immediately made me kick it, and it reflected off a box and killed me. And I was like, well, that was dumb.
I'm trying to avoid all the levels that sound like they're in that Mario U palette.
Oh, yeah.
I'm skipping those. It's ugly as hell. I'll at most go to the 3D World palette, but that Mario U, ugly.
I was surprised that lives don't carry over between maps.
I don't think they need to be honest.
Well, so I think that's why the first levels give you so many lives. So it's like, wow, I have 11 lives coming out of this. And then I go to I guess I start with 5. Why did I try so hard to be a completionist on this other level? Because I'm stupid. I should be speed running. This is all garbage. All that matters is coins. It's very capitalist Mario.
Yeah, I was about to say he's like shaking down people for like coins so they can rebuild his
it's super weird. It's like Mario Trump because the premise is the premise of story mode is the castle's built. We don't know why it needed to be built at the time, but you just finished building the castle with some toads, and then fucking Undo Puppy from Mario Paint, sits there and he jumps on the undo rocket, and the whole thing gets destroyed. And then now you have to rebuild it, and you... Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Yeah. So now you have to... Mario just says, I will pay for the rebuilding of the entire castle.
And then Taskmaster Toad.
Oh, yeah. I know some people. I don't know their names. They use pseudonyms. That sounds shady, but I don't
like
care as long as there's money
Craigslist.
involved.
Does he take a loan from like Waluigi?
Do these jobs. Just get some money from these worlds.
Yeah. It's like Craigslist, like, I accidentally left my, machete in somebody's house. It's like, can you go get it for me? And it's like, yeah, I'll pay you 60 coins for that. And yeah, it's very bizarre. It's good. It's very good. It's kind of like seedy Mario that you don't.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I like the idea
it's really
of
good.
CD Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the like curation tools are much better this time around, and it's still a bit, like, I have to type in this course ID to find either you or the level you made, and still it's better, but it's still maybe this could be a bit more streamlined, but it's not too bad. Yeah, it's
Standard
it's on the
Nintendo.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
standard Nintendo, but not as bad as Nintendo can be. But yeah, like, this is the first time I've used the creation tools because I just didn't bother the first time around in the first Mario Maker.
Was it, so?
Really good.
Is it called Super Mario Maker?
It is. The first one was called Super Mario Maker, and this is Super Mario Maker 2.
Because obviously everyone just refers to it as Mario Maker.
Yeah, but I mean, do you call Mario Odyssey or Super Mario?
Is it
I don't
Super
know, I play
Mario
that game. I
Odyssey?
don't talk about it.
It is. It's also...
Alright.
Because
I played that game. I don't remember.
Isn't the super prefix suggest a different game?
No.
No, they've been using it because they used Super Mario Party 10, didn't they? Like last year and stuff like that. Or is it Mario Party?
Haven't we just had but haven't we had Mario Brothers and then Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah, but
They called
Mario
the thing
Brothers was a totally different game, right?
So that's what I'm saying. So
They haven't used a Mario
Then,
Brother
like,
since
why
Super Mario
try
Kart.
and figure something out when there's no logic to it? They
well,
call the
that's
console
what
the
I'm seeing.
new
That's what I'm seeing. There
Nintendo.
was any logic to it. Whether
There
it
isn't.
was just Mario Maker, there's a certain level of palettes and aesthetic that you can do, and then by calling it Super Mario Maker,
Oh,
then
but they don't have the
that's
palette of the original Mario Brothers game. Was a pipe battling game,
Mm.
right? It had no Bowser, no anything. You were
Just
it was-
Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, it was Mario and Luigi battling
Yeah.
on who could get the most coins by flipping spiky guys.
They called a console the new Nintendo 3DS XL. So just don't look for
Okay.
meaning where there isn't any. Yeah.
I'll drop
But yeah,
it.
it's great. I'll talk about Mario Maker. I'm sure we both will when we've both. got
Yeah.
some more
Although
time
it
to-
is interesting that Mario Kart started as Super Mario, but I think
Yeah, it was because that was.
it became Mario Kart 64.
Dash.
Like as soon as it left the Super
Cool.
Nintendo, they left the Super prefix. But all
Yeah.
the mainline Mario games kept the Super prefix.
The best one is still Super
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because
the
it's
only one I've
it's
ever
the
enjoyed.
kart racing game from Krypton.
Yeah. Oh, Superman. There's a Superman joke in there. And maybe it just really wasn't funny. Maybe
No, I'm
that's why.
sure it wasn't.
Oh dear. So, who's ready for another beer?
I.
Good. Lucy, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking another beer from Magic Rock. This time it's a session IPA called Druse. Druse. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This one's in a 500ml can this time. It's same 4.3%. Is this a collaboration beer from someone? Oh. What
Is it an Australian
collaboration?
brewer?
No.
Victoria Bitter.
It's spelled GWEI -LO, and there's like Oriental symbols underneath. So I don't know if that's how they pronounce it.
Well, yeah, when you start throwing in, like hyphens and things, we're getting a little bit too futuristic for like language, aren't we? So I just call them Gui.
Guilo. But I don't know, because I was like, it looks like I don't know, German, and then I had like Japanese, well, Oriental. I don't know if it's Japanese symbol. It could be Mandarin. I have no idea. I'm just gonna pop open the can.
One of the languages you're not familiar with.
Yeah, I can
There's
get
not
away
many.
with it because I'm not as ignorant as, most Brits. But anyway, the malts are Golden Promise, Torrefied Wheat, and Flaked Oats. The hops are T90 Citra, Azaka, Cascade, and Denali, / Cryo, and Citra, and Azaka. The yeast is WLPO66 London Fog Ale. 4.3%. Let's crack it open.
Nice. Aadil, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a beer I brought from Calgary, and it is very descriptive of me, especially the way I interact with video games in the past couple of years. It is called Filthy Casual.
Brilliant.
It is a cold brew dunkel, 6%.
You have to keep that can.
Right. With help from our friends at Filthy Casual and Rogue Wave Coffee, we bring you a lager like no other. A dark and smooth-bodied beer mixed with generous proportions of Rogue Wave coffee creates a new, unique beverage for all the filthy casuals out there. Coffee is Guatemalan from Finca Bueno Esperanto. The varietal is Bourbon and Caturo. It was grown at 1900 MASL, and it was washed in its process. That's right. The only flavor text is about the coffee.
Nice, nice. Who is that brewed by? Who's the brewer?
Sorry, it's Townsquare Brewing, and they are from Edmonton, Alberta.
Yeah. You need to keep that can.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I also like how there's
good.
like the ice cubed coffee beans are a nice touch to reinforce the cold brew.
Like in a mason jar as well.
Yeah, right. It's all
It screams filthy casual. It's good.
yeah.
Nice, crack that. I am going to be drinking Cloudwater's Human Meanings. It's a double IPA. It says on the front, big and juicy. It's 8.5%. So this says, this double IPA leads with CY18 Citra and Mosaic hops we selected at source in the Yakima Valley in a 24 gram per litre dry hop charge. Both of these varietals are highly distinctive but complement each other well, combining to unleash flavours of ripe tropical fruits and berries alongside powerful resinous hop notes, all carried by a smooth and juicy base. Oh yeah, Cloudwater changed up what they say about their beers, and so the aroma and flavour is ripe mango, passion fruit, apricot and blueberry, bold resinous hop notes. The body is full-bodied, juicy and smooth, soft carbonation, and the aftertaste is juicy finish with low bitterness, lasting resinous hop flavours. Yeah, I'm not a fan of them telling me exactly what I'm going to be getting. I mean, you know, Pressure Drop did it as well, didn't they? What do they say? It just as tasting notes. Just giving you an essence and understanding maybe of what you're getting from that. And that kind of, you know, it's fine, but I think I'd rather know what hops were in it and malts and things like that.
You need to do the standard things first, and then if you want to give like tasting notes for people to choose if they don't know these things, that's one thing. But yeah, I do think it's weird when they only tell you this is what it'll taste like. Like, what, did you put pineapples and bananas in there, or is it because you've done something with the hops? Like it.
You know who do a great job with this? Weird Beard.
Yeah.
Yes, as we understood from the last episode. Perfect flavour text from what they what they describe. Yes, Lucy, we'll come back to you.
Yeah.
How's the second Magic Rock?
It's really good. Although it's only 4.3%, you're still getting a lot of flavour, a lot of fruit, a lot of tropical fruit. Slight bit of lemon as well. That you could, just smell on the nose. it's not sour, but it's got like slight prickliness to like the hoppiness in it. Yeah, it's going down really well. It's reminding me of another one of my beers, but I can't remember which one it is. Might come to me later, but yeah, it's just like a really nice, light, still hoppy, still fruity. See if there's a bit of bitterness at the end. Slight bit of bitterness. Slight bit of... Yeah. The longer I talk, the bitterness eases in. It just keeps going after a few seconds. So it's really well balanced. You know, fruitiness at the top, nice lingering bitterness at the end. It's refreshing. It's hoppy. It's just a really good session strength beer.
Nice.
Yeah, I should have bought like 10 of these. Just started drinking from like 12.
Like you're saying, you started drinking beer at the age of 12?
Yeah, that's also true. But I should have started drinking today from 12.
Yes, and it just wasn't of this quality either when we were talking.
No, absolutely not. It was like... It wasn't even beer. I didn't even like beer back then. It's like Bacardi Breezers. I don't even know if those are still sold.
Reefs, mate. Reefs.
Yeah, Reefs and Bacardi. Just sugar, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm just old enough
Sugar.
that Breezers weren't around when I was in my teenage drinking years.
Yeah,
so
I remember
like,
when they came out, like the big advertising push for them, like
Yeah, well, I have a Spearnut of Ice or a Mike's Hard Lemonade when you can have something with rum in it.
Did it have rum in it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the main...
I guess they are Bacardi.
Yeah.
Didn't even know, because it just tasted like sugar.
Yeah.
It tasted like... what are those ones in the bottle? That is just juice. Like green bottle. I can't remember.
Hooch, mate.
No. Yep, started drinking hooch at 12 years old.
And then you're like, my God, Bacardi Breezers have come out. I can lay off a little.
I'm actually 16. I just look, twice as old.
Oh, you probably would if hooch was your drink of choice, wouldn't you? Yes. Good. Did we talk about your beer? We did. Aadil, how was your beer?
It's the heat stroke.
The one thing I missed in the flavor text, I'll say now, which is they've got a lovely text about the brewery. Craft brewery with a heart for community. A place for family and friends, colleagues and sweethearts to come together. A place where ideas are birthed, philosophies are debated, and art is shared.
Nice.
Beautiful. As is all beers.
Set of ideals for a brewery. I kind of like it.
Yeah. Community.
Cool.
Good beer.
What was it? Was it a Dunkel?
Is
Yeah, it was a Dunkel.
it basically smells like coffee.
Well, there was a lot of coffee imagery on the can, so...
They're cutting out, so I'll just wait for the internet to settle.
Oh yes. You're coming in and out as well, so...
I'll just sit here with my beer.
Why internet bad?
You're fine. Keep talking. The Dunkel. The coffee Dunkel.
Yeah. Okay. Oh. And it's not nearly as coffee in my face as I would have thought, but it's also sweeter than I would have thought.
Okay.
So I'm surprised they didn't... I mean, I think the one thing I will say is the cold brew is pushing against the beer taste. It feels like there's a bit more of a tug of war rather than like a weaving of the two. Not entirely, but it's really interesting. It's good. So I think the maltiness and the sweetness of the Dunkel is coming through, and in that sense, the coffee is tempered by sweetness in the way you would get if you didn't get a black coffee. But why I think I'm saying there's a tension is because it feels like like, yes, they work well together, but they're not melding so much as like they just happen to be in a good balance. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're not sort of interwoven. So there's a sense that the coffee's being undercut, and there's a sense that the beery maltiness is being undercut, and the initial taste is quite good, and actually sort of what I was hoping, given that it's a hot day later in the evening, to have it taste like an iced coffee.
Yeah.
But it's actually there's like, because they're a bit in tension or like pushing back at each other, I'm not getting a lot of depth of the coffee, nor a depth in the malt. So I'm like, oh, this is definitely coffee and this is definitely malty, but it's a bit of interesting. There's a bit of citrus coming through now
Just
underneath
didn't
the
expect
sweet,
that.
which wasn't expecting. Still, yeah, just still a little. They're not in like I don't want to punch in the face, but just a little weak in the. It's all plain, I guess. The flavors going on are there, and they're interesting, and they're not fighting against each other, but they seem to be flattening each other. So it just feels a little plainer, given that, there's this very fancy coffee in here. It's a dunkel, which usually, it's a little more malt forward, and there's usually a heavier taste going on. I'm just sort of surprised at how subdued the beeriness is. But maybe it might be the mosaic still on my palate. So I might chime in a bit if I change my mind. But
Okay.
Fair.
still tasty, and not like other coffee beers I've had. It makes me more interested in finding like coffee or espresso dunkels, or like those less often. Like you get the porters and
Siren do their barista range, which
Yes.
are really pretty good. A few of them are quite high strength. You have like some of the like 5s and 6s.
right.
But yeah, those are really good. Like,
I mean,
that kind of.
yeah, you've reminded me. This is a 6% beer. It does not. Does not taste 6% in the slightest. And luckily, there's enough going on. It's not like I'm like pounding it because I'm bored of flavor. But I kind of forgot that it was much stronger than the previous beer I had.
Unlike the Cloudwater I'm drinking, which is a big, juicy beer. I mean, it says big and juicy on the front of the can. But it is unmistakably like a Juice Bomb double IPA. I'm not getting alcohol from that flavour, but just that strength of fruity flavours does just make me think, yeah, this is a big beer. This is a big percentage beer. It has that unmistakable like Cloudwater quality to it completely. In the nose, I don't know if it's the again, the cans don't tell us the information about what they're putting in there, but what is it Cloudwater use? Like WLP002 yeast, or they're clearly using a similar base for for their beers again. They went through a little bit of a stage of doing a lot of collaboration beers for several months with a lot of people. Now with Black's kind of like just Cloudwater beers, and it is unmistakably a Cloudwater beer. It is beautiful. It's a really good beer, and I'm getting a lot of those fruits. So you're getting the mango, you're getting the passion fruit. Maybe not quite the blueberries kicking through.
Yeah, that didn't seem to mix with the other fruits that they're going to. Just like throwing a random bit. Yeah.
Completely. And I know it's got that. So it says on the can at least, it says mango, passion fruit, apricot, and blueberry. And the apricot works almost all the way through the flavour. So it's almost straight away you get the apricot. It's right there at the end. The passion fruit kind of peaks a little bit at the beginning. I'm getting a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of mango at the beginning as well. That kind of dulls out as the flavour kind of recedes slightly into space. It's a quite a dry beer, but this flavour is sticking around quite a lot. But even then, even in that aftertaste, still not getting a lot from the blueberry. At least enough to pick it out from anything.
That's the thing. That's the thing when they tell you, oh, it's got this and that and this in it. You should taste this and that and the other thing. When you don't, you start searching for it, and it's like, You said there'd be blueberries. I
Well,
bought
I
the
mean,
can because
yeah.
there were
Or your brain
blueberries.
just assumes there is. Like I like tasting notes, but a little. If I couldn't find the grapefruit and looked for it, like one, is it so subtle it shouldn't be a tasting note? Is a weird question because all of us have different palates. But also sometimes I feel like it's just like, oh yeah, there's the pine, because it's
yeah.
it's slightly bitter and apparently I need pine, so some
That's
placebo effect kicks in.
Okay, but completely. But also, I don't eat blueberries that much. So
Oh, they're
I'm
really
sat
good
here-
and they're full of antioxidants.
Evelyn has them a lot. I don't. But I'm
It's
sat
not
here
my
thinking.
favourite berry.
So I'm sat here thinking, is that the blueberry? No, that's not blueberry. Is that the blueberry? No, that's not blueberry. Is that the blueberry? And because I'm not,
Because
I
you're
don't
looking
have
for it.
the I'm looking for it, but I don't have the recognition of blueberry instantly to be like, oh, that there it is. So yes, it's probably very subtly in there. And as you say, Aadil, is it subtle enough that it should be kind of like included? Really, I don't.
So you're
know.
not coming to the blueberry fan convention of 2019?
Yeah, I'll come there. Why not? Fuck it. If there's blueberry beers, why not?
It's just started
Just
like
blueberries.
console
Just
war
fruit.
with like strawberries. I like raspberries.
That's it.
I
You
like
can only be
blueberries.
one or the other. Fruit post Brexit is so expensive that you can only be one or the other. That's it. You have to buy in now. Only
That's
one
fine.
giant strawberry all year.
So the Civil War in UK started. It's like, which one should we pay more import tax on? Blueberries or strawberries? And then
That's it.
Twitter
Only
had
only one can win.
I'm team strawberry.
I'd go with strawberries over the blueberries. Yeah, every day.
Aadil, which side are you on?
Oh, I think blackberries. They're better than both strawberries and blueberries.
That's fair. Yeah,
Oh,
okay. At least you could just go to the railway track and pick some blackberries. It's fine.
Yeah.
You can just
Yeah,
scrounge those
ripe
from wherever you want.
blackberries.
Yeah.
Are
But I mean, I
very
think they do. They're not too sweet like strawberries, but they have more depth. I like
good. They
the.
can be so shriveled and sour though.
Yeah, but
They
that's
can
all
be very
fucking
sour.
berries.
Strawberries, yeah.
But like blueberries, generally, if they're super plump, they end up being quite bland. But you can get nice, interesting tart ones. But that is rarer. It's not the standard taste. Blackberries, the standard taste is the more interesting part. And even they're not super tart that they make you, squirrel up. But they're not bland and sweet. So
This
I
is
think they
the
do what
fruit
strawberry wants to
corner.
do better than strawberry, and what blueberry wants to do better than blue.
The fruit
Good,
corner of the
yeah.
Tank Top podcast.
The Muller fruit corner. I'm glad we've hit the main
The Muller
corners that
fruit
we,
report.
Yeah. Good, right. They are our beers. Let's move on. Lucy,
Yes.
Super Mario Maker 2 was not your talking point this week. What is your talking point this week?
Yes, that was it. Yeah, I finished up Box Boy and Box Girl. Very good. We spoke about that last time. Played some Castlevania Bloodlines. That's a very good game. Played through it with both characters. John and there's some. I think one's called John. It may actually be Steve. It was John Morris and like Simon or something. I can't remember.
It might be.
Simon?
No, is it Simon?
No, because that's Simon. It wasn't
that's-
Simon. It was.
Simon's Quest.
Yeah, it was some other geezer from Spain.
Yeah, Barry.
Yeah, it might have been Barry, but anyway. But yeah, that's a very good game. The music's not the best of the series, but what they were doing with the technology, because I think it was on the Genesis, was like really good. Like the effects that they were doing with that game back in '94, insane. And I played Contra Hard Corps with the Contra collection, which is another good collection from Konami.
Nice. Yeah.
Do recommend them. Contra is even like more, horseshit than like Castlevania, but they'll just kill you for no reason. So yeah, it's good to.
Contra's
return to-
hard. Contra's
It's
super
not-
hard.
Castlevania's hard. Contra is impossible. It absolutely is. I remember playing it. It's like couldn't even get off the first level. So it's nice just to save scum like every 12 seconds. Like, Contra before just like some random enemy just spawns out of nowhere and just kills you. Those games are nonsense. But
I assume a lot of these collections are, do ape the original games where you're only on that like 8-point, like aiming mode with Contra and stuff. It's not like they've not upped them to like a 360 arc or anything like that. So.
No. But yeah, I mean, they are really good fun. But Castlevania. I was trying not to save scum too much. I was like, okay, I want to get through like the entire stage and then save it before the boss, because the bosses are always just nonsense anyway.
Right.
I was, managing to do that with most of the Castlevania. Sometimes I'd just be like, you know what, I've done this before, let me just restart and save scum again. But like Contra, it's like, every time like the screen, you get onto the next screen, it's like, yep, I'll save it now because I'm just gonna die in a second anyways. But yeah, Contra Hard Corps, very good. It's just the epitome of like 90s, just like over the top, and it's just so stupid. But anyway, the bad guy, one of the bad guys in it is called Neumann Cascade, and it's like, oh my god, Neumann. But anyway, the game that I wanted to talk about, which I played last week, I told Aadil to pick it up, so not sure. I haven't touched base with you, Aadil. I don't know how far you've got in it, if you've even started it at all. Hold on, let me get the full name. Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necrodancer, featuring The Legend of Zelda.
I think actually you'll find it's Cadence of Hyrule, left-facing skull. Crypt of the etc. There are icons. They seem part of the time. I did pick it up, but I only played like 25 to 35 minutes because I didn't realize my Switch. I didn't use it much, but I didn't charge it while I was in Vienna, and it just lost a bunch of its battery in standby mode or whatever for the 3 or 4 days I was there. And so when I really wanted to play it at the airport, I was like, "Oh, okay." Cool. This 2-hour delay would have been perfect for just bashing out some things with some things. Also, I'm not good at it very much yet.
Don't worry about that, my friend, because it is based on Crypt of the Necrodancer, a game that I didn't play because I was like, this is a roguelike and it's bad at both of those things.
Like a rhythm-based roguelike, right?
Yes. And I was like, I'm bad at both of those things, so I'm not going to touch this. I appreciate it from afar. Because the music's cool, it looks cool, the concept is cool. The concept is you're, as you say, rhythm based. You're moving around to the beat on like what would you call it, isometric or top down, like grid system?
It's more top down. It's
like, more top down. Yeah,
4/5.
Link's Awakening.
Yes.
Angle.
Yeah. Like classic Zelda angle, and you're basically moving to the beat, and all the enemies on screen are moving to the beat also, all have their different attack patterns and stuff like that, and you're also attacking to the beat. So as soon as you get into like the vicinity of an enemy, you don't need to like do an extra button press to attack. It'll do it automatically for you, so you're only really using the directional buttons to traverse the map and attack. So it's not like you're having to do an extra input, which is good because that would have literally broken my brain if I had to like tap, move to the beat, and then slash with like A or B button or something like that.
I mean, I think that's where I struggle actually. So I haven't got the rhythm of the basic navigation around. Like, you also have to be facing the right way in order to hit them when you're near them. And so it feels like you want to hit the button to attack. But if it's because you've like, if the guy's coming around and you come around, but you're facing the wrong way. Then you think, "Oh, I'll hit you." Now you're actually running into them.
Yeah.
Because you've told whoever your character is to jump in. I say that because you can pick either Link or Zelda.
Yeah, you'll collide with another character if you just keep going.
And so you think, I mean, that's the thing with I haven't got my instincts right on, which is I need to get my pattern such that not only am I next to the person or the enemy, but also facing them in the right direction, such that I then stab instead of move, looking downwards, smack. Now I've lost a life, and it took me a while to figure out that's what I was doing wrong. So it was like I was like, there's a couple of complex attack patterns and a busy screen. I was like, how am I dying so much? Do I not understand the beat? And it's like, no, it's not that I'm missing beats. It's that I'm playing the game wrong.
Yeah, but these are all the frustrations that I went through, and apparently a lot of people go through.
Yeah,
and you said that you stopped about
goes.
half an hour in.
Yeah.
Literally, after about 45 minutes, it clicked. It just like, yes, okay, you know the beat, you know the songs, which are very good. I'll get onto that later. But it's like you know how to move to the beat at the right time. And I'm not good at rhythm games, but this is like a pseudo rhythm game to be that good at keeping to the rhythm. You just get into like a flow state, and you're just in the zone at a certain point. But
I think it helps when it has audio and video cues, right? So at the bottom of the screen is basically a Triforce with a set of flashing bars, and
like a metronome,
on the beat of the music is when the two bars meet from the left and the right on the Triforce, and it does that over and over. And when you can hit bricks that slow down or increase tempo, and obviously that'll slow down or increase. So you can technically play the game on mute.
Yes, you could, and there's also like a fixed beat mode, which like removes the need to go to the beat entirely. But yeah, you do have that like visual metronome in the middle. But I never looked at that. It is a case where you just pick it up. You don't need to be good at rhythm games, because I'm not. You don't have to be good at roguelikes or roguelites even. It's because there is some persistence in the game. You do keep some of your items. You lose all your rupees to like buy upgrades and stuff like that if you die. But you do get to keep some like persistent items, and there's quite a lot of items that you keep. So death is never really that punishing. And once you start understanding it, start moving to the beat properly, start knowing enemy patterns, and get like better weapons. Like I think you're still using like the short stabby sword, Aadil, but later on you unlock like weapons that can just slash across 3 different squares.
Yeah, like the broadsword.
Yeah, and like the long range weapon, which I stuck with throughout the whole game practically. That's what made it smooth sailing. But yeah, it's got a lot of depth to it, but you don't really see that depth unless you go looking for it, because there's a lot of different items you can use. But I found like, I'm in the groove now with this like spear that covers across like two different squares. I've got the rhythm down now. I'm just going to stick with this loadout,
Right?
like bow and stuff like that. And if you want to use the bombs or boomerang, typical Zelda sub weapons.
So you can load weapons onto ABXY.
Yes.
But your like default attack you map to a weapon, and that's the one that you sort of
use. But yeah, it grabbed me because it was the like Zelda palette, and it is very much like a Link to the Past. Like if someone just went crazy and was like, oh, I'll just do a rhythm game based on like Link to the Past, and it's got dungeons. It's got like Kakariko Village. It's got like all the enemies and characters in it, and it's like, at first I was like meandering, didn't know where to go, but then once okay, there's 4 different dungeons, then you have space.
Octavo has frozen the Zelda's dad in the castle, and you have to beat him on top of the castle to unfreeze him or steal him, I think. And you do that by first attacking his 4 warriors, and
Yeah.
they each have their own weapon, which is an
Crew.
instrument.
Musical instrument, and they got really good names.
Oh, Dad Band. Not even his dad mates. Is like his band. He's his dad.
Band,
And it's his dad band.
Yeah.
By the way, Ben, you've been frozen for quite some time. You just got.
Oh, he's not frozen for me.
On mine,
Maybe
he
it just hadn't moved for a while.
Yeah, he's frozen, but he's got like this real side eye look, like, and it's directly looking at like Aadil from where I set up. It's like
Nice.
what do you want about, mate? But anyway,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more of it.
yeah, you'll pick it up and trust me, you'll get into the groove, and it's like, yeah, I understand this now. But yeah, it's quite short. It's like I finished it in about 5-6 hours, maybe. It's so about 4 to 6 hours, I guess. I did quite a lot of like discovering the map and mopping up and stuff like that before I went to the final boss, and yeah, still finished it at like sub 6 hours.
Has it had you going to kind of to reach for Crypt of the Necrodancer? Do you want to play more of this kind of thing?
I would, but I know how tough Crypt of the Necrodancer is, and honestly, what brought me to this is the fact that it was Zelda, you know, and which is like, it's conflicting because it's like, yeah, I should see their original work and what the inspiration was for this. If it was like it was on sale on Switch like before this came out and when it was first announced, but it was like, I'm not going to spring for it because I don't even know if I'm going to like Cadence of Hyrule. But now that I do like that game and that that format, that uniqueness of it. If it was like, just dropped on like, I don't know, Epic Games, there's a free game or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll check it out. But yeah, I think it's that familiarity with Zelda, even as a new Zelda fan as myself.
Which is surprising, given that you aren't a historical Zelda game, and the Zelda games that it's appealing to are the ones that you are still pretty new to, right?
I'm new to all Zelda, to be honest, but
like,
I think
you
I
played
played
Breath of the Wild, right? But you didn't.
That was my first Zelda game I actually played and finished. Well, not played, but finished.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's like I've known about it, even though I've never played like Zelda in the past. It's like it's always been there, like Mega Man. It's like it's always been there, And it's like I'm not a crazy Mega Man fan, but when Mega Man hits start playing, it's like I'm gonna start bopping my head to them. But yeah, what really stands out in this game is the music. Like, it is incredible.
As you would expect from a rhythm game, I suppose.
Yes, and it's the remixes on the Zelda music. It's just oh my god! It's
I will say
A-class.
that the Crypt of Necrodancer is currently a part of the Steam Summer Sale, and it is £2.19.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
like £3-4 on Switch.
Yeah, I mean, I was just say it's even cheap on the really, but like
but nobody plays PC games. Not even you.
Ben, die in a fire from Lucy.
I just shrivel into the corner. Just
You're one of my favorite nobodies. Don't do that.
Just listen to this music. Just listen to this. Yeah.
I can't hear anything.
No, it's gone.
It stopped playing.
Silence from Lucy.
Lucy played 3 bars and then stopped.
Can't hear it?
No, it stopped. It stopped. We heard nothing.
Who knows what?
And then it just
I know what it is. I'm sure it's Discord's audio.
Yes.
codec being like,
Discord, yes.
that's clearly background music. I should cut it off so the people can talk. So you have to make
away,
noises
Discord.
along, but not too
Why
loud.
be so clever? Well, I'll just sing it.
I really from the bits and bobs I've heard in like the 30 minutes I played, I really liked it.
Yeah, the Kakariko Village crypt music is a banger. It's
Um,
probably the best song. It
Oh,
is a song of the year.
Nice.
What I really like is you've got all these remixes that are like area specific and whatever, but there's also the main. So moving around in the game, if there's no enemies, you just sort of hop along in your
Yeah.
weird way, and as soon as enemies come in, it sort of kicks into a new musical mode that's more
Yes.
intense, and that's when the beat matters, and you can only sort of if you move off the beat, then you're sort
Yeah.
of missing things, etc.
There's about
And I really
three-
like that because it's a nice dynamic
remixes,
indicator.
yeah.
So even when you kill the last enemy on the screen, yes, you know because you're trying to track all the elements, but also if you missed one, you're still in that music mode. So because you're paying attention to the beat the whole time, this makes it super obvious that it's a really good game design thing where you're so focused on the beat that you don't even have to look anywhere else. You already know there's another enemy, and then you're using your eyes. Your visual field is looking for the enemy versus have I finished? Oh, there's the guy, right? And it makes a big difference, I think, to immediately get that,
Yeah.
like, okay, where is he mode?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, the
Alright.
audio visual feedback on this game is really fantastic.
Yeah.
And like all the while I was playing through it, I was just like headbanging. I was just in the zone playing.
Nice.
Very good. Yeah, fully recommend it.
Good. Good.
maybe if I end up coming by tomorrow, you could play.
Give him a go.
Yeah, bring that Switch to my barbecue.
And then we can
I
all
can
play
ignore
Mario.
everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we can both play Lucy's level.
Yay! I want
Oh.
honest criticism and feedback on my
Nice.
first level. And then I'll
That's
just
that's
cry.
a very good idea. Yes. Like, no, Lucy, shit.
It's only about... It's not long. I was trying to make it harder.
5 seconds.
Yeah, I was like
3 jumps.
this
done.
needs to be... Yeah, it's like, this needs to be harder. It's called Icy Dry Bones.
Oh man, that's awesome! Like my
'Cause-
first instinct was I want to make a snow ice level.
Yeah. I just wanted
Mighty-
to
I
use
mean-
the carcass of a Dry Bones because I was like, that's just
I
hardcore.
was gonna say, am I
That's some
sliding
gritty
everywhere?
Stuff.
Sliding everywhere, having to fight dry bones.
In a carcass. Yeah, in a,
Oh, what
in a
what
dry bone
what
shell.
base game mode is it in?
Free, because
Because that's the
that's
best
my
one.
favorite. To me, it is.
If
Yes.
it is objectively the best Mario.
Yes.
What Mario does it go up to?
It has one free world. We won't even talk about the U and 3D world.
Where it's not actually 3D because it's not a 3D.
It's got some
But
Mario in a
it's a 2D.
cat suit.
But basically, it has certain interactive elements which are depth based. Like you can get
Yeah.
bullet
Yep.
bills coming,
Which
at
is
you
cool.
from the screen,
Hmm.
which is really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's fine. It's just we will not speak of the U.
I mean, I don't know enough about the
Disgusting.
U one.
It's disgusting. I've tried playing that game. It's hell on earth. It's disgusting. It shouldn't be allowed to exist. If I didn't love Nintendo so much, they should be tried for content.
Well, the Switch is pretty much just, the Wii U again, isn't it? Anyway.
Yeah, but much
Yeah, what if the Wii U had no Wii?
And it was
Just you.
You.
Yeah.
Just you.
Yeah, the Wii U, like, it's so good to see what they were actually prototyping, but it should have just been a prototype that they
Yeah.
released to like 50 people and be like, how can we make this better? Like, get rid of the whole tablet and make it an,
Yeah, just
Yeah,
make
an
a new
actual
console.
tablet.
Fuck this. Like, yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
And-
it's having lived through those dark days, it's good to come out on the other side. Like,
I mean, I owned a Wii, but I never really played much of it. Like, I played Galaxy 1,
I never
and
owned
a
a
bunch
Wii.
of Wii Sports and Mario Party.
I
But
was one of the
it
only
ended up just being the console that when people were around who wanted to play a game but didn't know how to play real games. No, I mean, but like, they didn't
That's
want to
why I
like
didn't
play
have
something more extreme. They just
I'd be
wanted
like-
to fuck around on a screen.
Yeah.
I'd be like, get on Black Ops, get on Call of Duty. We're not playing bowling.
Yeah.
That's why I never had a Wii. I was like, what are these
I'm
motion
really good
controls?
at bowling. So when the Wii first came out, I was living with two friends of mine, and there was just a very green environment.
Okay.
And so we got really good at figuring out how to trigger the right things on all the Wii Sports with minimal activities. Like, so to get the perfect close putt, you basically can just take the Wiimote, and slowly move it up and down until it finally registers, and then you will do the weakest hit. There's no point in actually swinging it, but because we learned that, we just figured out how to do all like
You
moves.
just sat on
like
the
a
sofa,
quick-
like the minimal movement.
Yeah. And bowling was the same way. It's like, well, why would I stand up and try and do the bowling thing? That seems like a lot of effort. What if we figured out what kind of minimal move would get us triggering the motion control thing? It was great.
The weed you. Good times.
Very good. Unlike if you had, when I had a Wii, like Sonic and Mario Olympics or whatever that was called. We had to
can't
put
you
in,
wait
like,
for the sequel?
Maximum fucking effort. Whereas like, oh, we've got to run as fast as possible. I just like smash your hands constantly to make Sonic run.
Oh, so yeah, the cheat for boxing I realized was because I realized when my phone rang and I took the nunchuck and I put it in the same hand to grab my phone and just kept doing this. And then basically the two inputs would just fight over which one got priority, which means you're always fucking punching one hand after the other because there's a lag. So it wouldn't register like a punch, but if both were punching at the same time, it would be 1-2 or 1-2, and the system would figure that out. So you were just always maximally punching.
I'd say I'm
Nice.
glad we're out of that era, but they're all back again with VR. So
Yeah. I can't wait for the VR.
That's what it'd be called as well. That is exactly.
Although
what
to be
it'd
fair,
called.
I want to meet someone who's made the Labo VR, so I can just figure out how bad Breath of the Wild VR is, because I can't like you're not strapped to it, and you can't see your hands. So like the worst of all VR things, but I bet it looks lush, and I bet walking around feels great until your neck hurts.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think just looking at screenshots of that game in VR would suffice, you know? like, just go to your Switch album. Oh, that's a nice screenshot. It'd be like one of those...
Do those-
you remember those
Do a
things?
panorama with screenshots, and then stitch them in Photoshop, and then just view the 360 thing you can output as.
Remember those things, those head...
Viewmaster.
Yes, that's the one. It was just like a Viewmaster.
Fuck, Viewmaster's the best.
Yeah, it's just
The
like...
sad thing is, so the principle behind Viewmaster is, what if we had... Are you familiar with the plastic toy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you put a little disc in?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, it's literally, what if we had two images and created a static depth of field, because your left eye would see something and your right eye would see something slightly different, so it would give you that depth of field. Turns out that's the exact same principle most post-production 3D is rendered on. They just arbitrarily create a plane and another plane, and then they re-render the frames with X in front of Y as focus points, and so like they shift things. So the reason why fucking post-production 3D looks so garbage is because all you're doing is clicking the Viewmaster wheel 30 times a second. That's it. It's the same fucking technology.
Bring
Brilliant.
back Viewmasters.
Oh, let's move on from this. Aadil, what's your talking point this week?
Well,
Viewmasters.
I was going to say, well, we talked about Game, which I played a little bit, and other game, which I played even less of. I actually wanted to talk about this announcement from Sony that they are making a television show.
I thank God, I thought we were talking
Oh.
about loot boxes.
No.
And that would have been a whole thing.
No, I thought they're announcing a television show in pre-production based on Final Fantasy 14.
Is that the
no.
MMO one?
Yes.
Yeah, the second MMO Final Fantasy game that had a horrendous start, such that they rebooted the entire mechanics and system of the game, but tied it into the lore on why suddenly the whole world worked differently, and you needed a new character.
My
And
knowledge
that
of...
got a lot of actual goodwill that like there was a lore version, and it's also was well designed, and I've played it for a spell or two in the past, and it's just actually been slowly growing. Like, it's got a reasonable amount of people, obviously more heavily Japan centric. And so one, I get why they might, this IP that sort of seems old, the new expansion just is coming out in July, maybe that it's getting some attention, but also who the fuck wants a TV show based on an MMO where the whole point is the narrative's kind of bullshit because you need to like artificially cycle a bunch. Otherwise,
it's-
everyone quits after 3 months.
It's a live game, live TV show. These things will go on until we die.
Yeah.
And all
I guess-
the anime fanboys will be.
So one, I just thought it was an interesting random thing, but I thought we might talk about what weird ass properties would you actually want? Like this is
Final
a left
Fantasy
field
14.
TV show.
Final
Right.
Fantasy, but that's the one I want.
Which one?
Final Fantasy 14.
Which one? 14? Nah, Tactics.
14. X2.
Oh, yeah.
Is that-
Pretty Girl
is that an
Dress Me Up,
actual-
it's so good.
That is
that
that
a-
is 10-2 is an actual game.
Yeah, I mean, I
Oh,
called
yeah,
it Pretty
it's
Girl Dress Me
10-2
Up because
though.
that's what the losers fucking label.
What,
That's
what
what
was
it came out.
10-2? 10-2 is when you were the three ladies from 10.
Yeah, it was
and-
Riku, Yuna, and the Black Maid.
Yeah, who? Oh shit.
Wait, Yuna
Who was-
and
He was super like prude in Final Fantasy X, but in 10-2 just didn't really give a shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't
Can't
ever
believe I
played
don't
it.
remember her name.
So,
Who knows what she's called? No one knows what she's called. But you got to swap outfits a lot in that game.
Yeah, you swap jobs and
You
outfits,
swap
and you can
jobs
do it
and
dynamic.
outfits. That's a lot of yeah.
Yamamura the pigeon is back in Mariame.
I don't know what that is.
The the tutorial pigeon. I was just thinking of Japanese
Oh,
names, but then
I
I'm
mean,
like,
More games
Japanese names.
need a
I was like,
tutorial
yeah,
pigeon.
Yeah, tutorial pigeon.
Oh,
He's
her name was
cool.
Pain.
Pain, yes.
Oh,
Oh,
Pain
yeah.
was the new one. She wasn't the Black Maid. She was the new one for that game, wasn't she?
Pain.
Yeah, Pain was new. I don't remember the name of the mage though in the original one. Doesn't matter.
Agony.
So the topic I wanted to bring up
Mm.
as we finish our beers was, yeah, we can think of straightforward. This can be a movie or a TV series, but like what bizarre, like this weird MMO announcement. It's not, right. What bizarre thing specifically do you want to see as a TV show?
Leisure
Right?
Suit
Something that
Larry.
they could. Sorry.
Leisure Suit Larry.
Wow. Okay.
They have like
Oh,
a
what
male
kind of
version
film
of
would that
Sex in the
be?
City.
Is it live
like-
action?
No, it isn't. Not so. Oh, that's absolutely no relation to Sex in the City whatsoever. If that's what they turned it into, people who like Leisure Suit Larry would be like, "This is shit,"
Yeah.
because Leisure Suit Larry is essentially just porn.
Well, no, it's not
That
even.
exists.
It's
Shall we just talk about what
softcore-
VR porn
It's a
is?
creep who wants to be in a softcore movie and maybe gets one or two softcore scenes in the entire series.
Yeah, that definitely exists. That's got to exist. That's
Oh
got
yeah,
to
I just mean
exist.
like the Leisure Suit Larry games, especially the OG ones. You didn't like just have sex all the time, so most of it was like being a creep and doing really questionable things, and then maybe getting a weird sex scene. So if you translate that to a TV series, it's like season 1 has 2 or 3 main arcs where he's just being a creep towards girl 1, girl 2, and girl 3.
Yeah,
Mm.
I mean, to be honest, I'm sure there's films of all these games. You just got to look on the right section in Pornhub. But,
Right.
but I think just on like the point and click adventure, like any of the LucasArts game, I'd love like a Grim Fandango. Like
Oh, that'd be
TV show.
amazing. Yeah.
that'd be so good. Like because a lot of the LucasArts games are like this is practically a cartoon anyway, like Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Tentacle and stuff like that. But yeah, the Grim Fandango like world is just so interesting. Like that would be. I want that.
Yeah, that would be very cool. I mean,
Yeah.
there's loads of sort of like TV shows and movies that are very similar to a lot of games out there. Like, if we're talking kind of like absurdity, you know, like
Or
the
at
same
least
as
left
kinda like-
field. Like just
yeah, the same as
unexpected.
kind
It
of like
could be
Final
more
Fantasy
grounded.
14. Yeah, so something like Mutant Year Zero would,
Oh, yeah, that'd
would
be
work
really
quite well. So something that is like post-apocalyptic, but actually it's not just like humans. it is that kind of like that mutant aspect of it, with that survivability kind of thing to it. But one thing I think would work really well, that I actually think would would translate much better as a TV series than it has done as a film, would be Hitman.
Yeah.
And it can still be super absurd. Of course it can. But it's like a 40-minute, episode, rather than trying to do the whole like 2-hour like, here's a hitman. Oh, now they know who he is.
Yeah.
Oh, he's some kind of threat. Oh, we need to
But
do
also
something about that.
The
Don't
feeling
worry
like
about
you
it.
need to give a total story in 2 hours rather than
Exactly. It just needs to be a series of his hits. Whether it's 10 episodes, and the first one can be a bit story kind of heavy, and then it is just him doing hits. It's very kind of very location based, and all
And
this
they
sort
would
of
call it Agent 47's greatest
Oh, of course they would. Of course they would. They call it Timothy Oliphant's Holiday Snaps, or something.
Oh my god, that's
stupid.
I kind of just want to
Holiday
see
Snaps,
the Instagram. Fuck, we need to make an Instagram account that's called Timothy Oliphant's Holiday Snaps, and it's just Hitman screenshots.
There was an article that was I can't remember who put it up. Was it Polygon or something? I can't remember. But they were like just interviewing like Timothy Oliphant, and it was I found myself in like the middle of nowhere in like
I
Iceland.
needed some money.
Yeah. He was like, well,
he was in a
when you
show, Deadwood, wasn't it? And he bought a new house, and then it got cancelled like 2 months later. He's like, I bought a house expecting I had a job. I said yes to everything, and I found myself in fucking Iceland doing some weird goddamn.
Yeah, and he was like, you really appreciate like any decent job after doing like that, and it's just so good.
Yeah,
so
so
good
much
enough.
shade.
But yeah, somebody, where was it? I think it was the No Clip Dream. Yes, it was, because he's doing a Hitman documentary, which would be really cool. Someone in the chat was like saying, I'd love to see like a Hitman show like coincide with like the episodic release of like Hitman 3 or something like that. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's tons of games that you could have, like an episodic, TV show base around that would be absolutely absurd. So like Subsurface Circular, or at least not necessarily Subsurface Circular, but kind of that universe, the subcircular kind of universe, like. We've already seen Quarantine come sort of off the back of that, which puts you in a slightly different time frame, which deals with slightly different things. There's tons of kind of franchises out there which are a little bit more abstract, a little bit more absurd, which you can build something off of. We've got tons of TV programs out there which have just been created out of nothing, which start off ridiculously. So it's kind of, I find the whole Final Fantasy 14 like TV show announcement to be kind of a bit weird, like, because why tie yourself to that? Why not just make a fucking fantasy show?
Because we all know
It's got the
IPs
final
are
one
considered
for it.
more valuable than old IPs, right?
I mean, like,
The fanboys will watch
Who
it.
really gives a shit? Who really gives a shit whether it's Final Fantasy 14 or it's Epic Adventure Series 12?
Yeah,
I still haven't watched the Castlevania series. It's like, if I'm like,
it was not bad.
I've
That's
heard
right.
that, but it's like,
Yeah.
I was bored.
because I like Castlevania.
Yeah.
Just because I like Castlevania doesn't mean like, oh yeah, I play games because they're games.
Yeah, completely.
Yes. Completely
Lies. You
different
play
audience.
games for the epic narratives.
Yeah, I just play walking simulators, and
That's it.
I just want it to play itself. I want an auto scroller. They should really make like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV show out of those games. Yeah. And
A
Chip and Dale.
TMNT TV show would sit very well.
Yeah, and Chip and Dale. How come they never did it? DuckTales,
By that you mean the male erotic dancers.
yes. You're actually seen in Manchester.
Oh, really?
Ages, yeah,
Hey.
good 10 years ago, I think. Yeah.
Nice. I mean,
Okay.
there's tons of franchises you could
Back to
kind of.
Chippendales. It was like,
Hold on, man. We don't
Like-
move on.
like some of them were like just coming in, you know, like randomly coming into the audience. They were very
whoa.
oily.
When you say coming into the audience,
They were like just running into the audience. They were very like oily and slippery.
Slippery.
So, yeah, they were just oily. That was the biggest takeaway from the show. When
Yeah.
there's like, it's like I've got like oil on my clothes,
that seems
like
awful.
grease. Yeah. Anyway, continue. What are you saying?
So yes, there are lots of very random games that I would love to see.
Let's
more
make a
exposition
Chippendales
to.
movie.
Sorry?
And game. Nothing.
Chippendale.
I love that. Carry on.
Exactly. So,
So
you know,
you were saying
like,
you would love to see?
I'd love to see, a little bit more exposition for tons of games like Horizon Zero Dawn. Like games like that, which are kind of like a single player narrative kind of game. That you want maybe something a little bit more of that isn't necessarily the main character's kind of story through, but you know, a little bit more sort of set up. Maybe it's a slightly different time.
Just bring back Beast Wars.
So, but there are other games that.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, I think
sorry,
that's-
there are other shows that kind of do this, and I know they're currently talking about it. Maybe pre-production, it may just be in the works, but they're talking about a Division film with Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal in.
The apolitical game with no narrative.
And you kind of think, why do you
Great
even
film.
bother making that film? Why do you need this film? What is the fucking point of it?
Because Ubisoft's whole E3 press conference was about
Not
two-thirds of it
making
was
games.
it was about making a
What
TV
if there
show.
was an opera tour in 7 movies?
We've got John Bernthal now. He can lead us into doing whatever we
He's
want to in
pretty good
Hollywood.
at
It's
that,
fine.
yeah.
It's fine. He's got all the connections.
You remember The Saboteur? Did anyone play that game?
Yeah.
I fucking
Yeah.
love
was
that
good.
game.
Yeah, me too. Make a
That
film
game
out
would
of
be
that.
so good as a film, like
Mm.
a TV show, with the
But it'd
color
be
palette
like-
change.
It'd just be Schindler's List, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like what you're saying, though, Ben, about how the key to this is recognizing that most games are in the first person, and so scene switching, etc., is a lost part of the narrative. And when you move to something that's not interactive, like a TV show or a movie, you get to exploit
I was
other
going to say
people's
make a
perspectives,
Doom
different
movie.
different
but they
scenes
did.
that have
They did.
no sort of driven relation. So then you get to see the world fleshed out in different interesting ways because the camera gets to go places that the camera directed by the player usually doesn't.
Yeah.
Also, this sort of is interesting to me because it's like, well, fuck, why don't we just have more interesting drive through games where you're not always piloting the same person or whatever? Like, we've just sort of games just assume that you play as Mario or Agent 47. Why
Yeah.
can't I play as like 7 people doing 7 things either at the same time or not and play like that? Would actually be an interesting
Make
remix.
a S Club 7 video game.
Yeah, where you do the same choreographed dance
Just
7 times in a row to and then it knits it together, and you get scored on the global thing. But worst of all, you don't get to know how good you were doing until all 7 parts are done.
Exactly.
And that means that
You never
you
played the
must pilot
Spice
one-
Girls game on PS1, did you?
no one did.
I did.
like if you screw
good
up with
game.
Rachel, then in the end point you might bump into someone.
Yeah. Just knock
But you don't know
Bradley
you
over.
bumped into them
Done.
because you haven't piloted all the people yet.
Yeah.
But you could, if you realize you misstepped with Rachel and you knew that, you could then re-choreograph the other people to make it so she doesn't hit you.
I want an S Club 7 video game.
I want this specific tactical dance choreography game,
No.
and I want it to be S Club 7.
I want it to be like the TV show. It was Miami 7, wasn't it? Was there LA
S Club
7
7
as
Miami,
well?
called it.
Was it?
In Canada, it was called S Club 7 Miami. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know,
Yeah.
we're obviously au fait with S Club 7. They needed no introduction. So.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing, Ben?
Well, I have no idea what
That's
you're
quite
talking
fair.
about. How did they even have a TV? Why did they have a TV
They had
show?
2 TV shows
Who
and like
gave
2
them a
movies.
TV show?
S Club 7
They had
theme
2
double and so that
Yeah,
they
they
had
had 2 TV shows that were aired on Much Music, Canadian Music Television Network.
Oh.
they were big. They were great.
Ain't no party like an S Club
I
party.
I do remember
man.
there was some kind of like S Club Kids as well.
Oh yeah.
Was that like Muppet Babies?
I remember
Almost,
when
yeah,
my
yeah.
I
It was
remember-
like Muppet Babies.
yeah,
It was the
you're
same.
not-
The
you're not
same
too
songs,
wrong.
just like dumbed down slightly.
Yeah, because I remember when my friend, she said that she auditioned. Like two of my friends said they auditioned, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I got to like the final round." I was like, "No, you
Mate.
didn't."
Next episode, get them on. What are they doing now? Nothing. Get them on.
I actually still speak to one of them for some unknown reason. But,
Yeah.
she
We've
she'll
gone
have
in.
no
We've gone
recollection.
into the
Like, yeah.
reality TV market.
She used to
Yeah.
say that she had like Richie Rich's house, like
Right.
slide inside it for
Full of
her
ghosts.
house, a mansion.
That's Casper.
Isn't he
Yeah.
Richie Rich?
No.
No.
Not the same character?
I mean, there's actually an active theory on the internet than
Mm.
the other.
Because the cartoons
same
look
character.
similar, didn't they?
Yeah, they're drawn by the same person, and they both
Yeah.
have absurdly round head.
Yeah. Big
Um,
eye.
I think the best TV show would be Super Mario Brothers 1. It'd be 45 minutes of a guy jumping around, and then at the end, some fucking mushroom man would be like, "Not today, motherfucker, different castle." It would also be rated R.
Yeah. Dennis Hopper shows up, ruins everything.
No, but like, can you imagine if you know that Russian film that was first person?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember.
I want to
Yeah.
see a fucking platformer. I want to see someone do Mario Brothers 1 in first
Parkour.
person as a
Oh,
TV
they do
show.
that all the time. They
Yeah,
run
it
across
can
the
only be, like,
buildings. Yeah.
Yeah, but it can only be like 5 minutes.
No,
Because
you would do
otherwise
a
you
world
just
an episode.
throw up.
It's a short run.
You
Everyone
would.
would just look at it like, oh god, it's so
Think
much
of how many
movement.
times you turn around
Be like
in
in
the Mario
Team
level,
America when
and
he
then
throws-
think about how every time you turn around, the camera is spinning 180 degrees real time. It'd be the worst. And like you go down a pipe, and it's just like a second and a half of just seeing steel.
Yeah, just darkness.
Yeah.
Just
And
black.
your stomach just goes.
Oh, and then when you die, of course, the perspective is you go pause, leap up in the air, and then plummet, and that's all shown.
And you become tiny. And everything else is suddenly bigger. You're like, oh, this
Yeah, 'cause it's not
perspective
even just a
change
height
is
change,
really
it's
World
scale and
War.
height change.
World 4
Yeah.
in like Super Mario 3. And then you get into like a dry bones carcass and it's like the Revenant.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, mate. Imagine if they just built Odyssey into it as well. And you throw the hat and the camera just continuously spins until it hits another object.
And then, of course, all the scalar weird things, like you get into the dinosaurs, so suddenly the world, visually, you're up here, but also everything's smaller.
Yes.
Yeah, and everything's like black and white, and they just change the perspective completely. You're like,
Okay,
oh,
this also just makes me want to play a Mario person. I think it'd be
VR.
awful.
They must exist. They must
Yeah.
exist on like itch.io. You know, a similar sort of thing.
Yeah, there's definitely games out there.
Oh dear. So they're the TV shows we want to see. Just
Wait, was-
fucked up shit all the time, please. Fuck TV shows. Fuck proper TV shows. They're dead. No one watches TV anymore.
Yeah, Netflix cancelled everything.
Everyone wants short 5-minute experiences of just fucking absurd things.
Again, Pornhub. Yeah.
I mean, that's what Ben's saying.
Yes. Yes. It's why that's my
Plenty of
biggest.
to watch
That's
there.
why that's the biggest search engine going. Pornhut. Done.
What happens when
I
they
found
start
out the other
to
week that
watch
it's
Lego?
Canadian.
What, Overwatch?
No, Pornhub.
Is it?
Yeah,
What?
apparently it's a Canadian company.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah, I found out the other week.
Wasn't it founded in like 2000s?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. But
Canada
just,
probably existed in whatever year you're about to say. So, yes, it may still be, built then and in Canada.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Because isn't it like because it's owned by like some like gamer media. It's
I
got some
don't
weird
know that
name where you'd
much.
think it's like a video game
No,
company.
honestly, someone on their Instagram story or Facebook story or something just posted the screenshot of the Wikipedia that says a Canadian company founded in blah, 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 blah.
Okay, interesting.
And we all know Wikipedia, especially screenshots of it, are next to truth.
Exactly. Unrefutable evidence.
God bless Canada.
So, let's finish there this week. Lucy, out of the two Magic Rock beers, which were both two completely different styles.
Yeah, Session IPA and a Berliner Weiss, and I might have to cheat. They're both Magic Rock, both very good quality. The sour is definitely what I needed today, but the Session IPA, I was just like, it hasn't gone up or down. I'm just like, yep, just very happy on that train.
Nice.
Yeah, sorry, it's a tie for me today. Both win the Drews, which I still have a tiny bit of, and what was the other one called? The Little Ray.
Yeah.
Little Ray. Very nice can art on both.
Very similar can art as well.
Yeah, they go well together. They're a
in
pair.
this phase.
Yeah, they're a pair, and they're both as good as each other, and everything's balanced in the universe.
Nice. Aadil, how about you, dude?
I love the name and the idea of the Filthy doing a cold brew infused Dunkel seems really good. Given that they seem to be newer, I'm going to be less harsh on Townsquare Brewing, just because I think it's a bit of a lofty goal to do these things and do them with depth, and we just wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
While Adnams, they just did a session strength pale ale with Mosaic, and it's what I got, and my only complaint was that the taste didn't last. But the taste did have nuance. It just sort of was a little lighter, which you don't buy a 4.1% ABV beer and think you're going to get, you don't buy a Novella and think you're going to get War and Peace.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to pick the Adnams just because I thought there was a little more, not just it did what it was said on the tin, but there was just a little more depth going on. And I am looking forward to hopefully, in subsequent trips to Canada, seeing what else Townsquare Brewing does, because I like their experimentation. I thought it was just the intersection of the things they were doing flattened things rather than sort of them promoting each other.
Yeah, that's fair. Nice. With your Townsquare Brewing, because you bounced around Canada a little bit the last time you were there, is the beer that you picked up from them sort of, available kind of everywhere? Is it a very regional kind of beer? I know with a lot of the states and with a lot of Canada and things that, you very much get your regional or your province kind of breweries that you can pick up very sort of like locally.
So craft beer especially is like proper craft breweries. They're very much local affairs. So each province has its own rules and liquor control. Usually, some central buyer buys all the liquor in the province and then distributes it. So even Alberta, which has private liquor stores, you still buy through the central provincial liquor control. So you have to make special requests to get things that they don't normally get, and so there's a bit of a nuance there. So again, that limits things, and that means that even interprovincial buying is going to be limited. But for the craft brew explosion in Alberta that happened, it's even more regional, just because there's just a bunch of small time people. So this is why the buyout of Wild Rose we talked about last time was super interesting and important, because the whole point of that move was someone who's big in the East who has a national presence, but it's much bigger in the East Canada, is buying a large player that's still Alberta bound. Like, you don't get Wild Rose outside of Alberta. It's Calgary and area, but you can find it in other parts of Alberta because they've been around and they're big enough. And so the whole point that they want to do is increase production and presumably push it across to other control boards. So yeah, normally craft breweries in Canada are very much local affairs.
It's nice.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Well, it's a big place.
Yeah.
Just a little bit big, yeah. A little bit bigger than, yeah.
So, the two beers that I have, the Saratoga Springs from Pressure Drop and the Human Meanings from Cloudwater. I would lean towards a Lucy Week, where both of them are really good beers. Both of them are kind of, doing, what they say they are doing. But it's a hard one because I would have both of them again. Absolutely no doubt I would drink both of them again. The Cloudwater was big, had a lot of flavour to it. Did not get that 8.5% at all.
Jesus, yeah.
Did not pick that up at all. Very, very easy. And apart from it being, a big flavour and juicy, which you kind of, equate to being a slightly bigger percentage, didn't get any of that alcohol coming through at all. The Saratoga Springs, the Pale Ale, was very easy. It had that, pure sort of like pineapple kind of like notes to it and things. It's hard to pick one of these beers. Both.
Just cheese.
We didn't say that to you. Hang on.
Do it.
I'm going with Saratoga Springs. I'm going with Pressure Drop, Saratoga Springs.
That's how it's done, Lucy.
I can't do that.
I know, but we got used to you demurring this way. This is part of your character. This is not part of Ben's character. Will not.
True.
I'm going to push back on him slipping to non-judgment when he's reliably judgmental.
Well, I haven't done it in like 6 weeks. So
I was just saying, what, in 2 weeks because we skipped a week. Now I'm just.
Good.
Indecisive.
That's fine. It's fine. So, we've all drunk some excellent beers this week. We've all talked about lots of games. If you want to talk to us about the beers you're drinking or the games that you're playing, you can do so in lots of different ways. We are at TankTap_cast on Twitter. We're TankTapCast on Instagram. We are Out of Lives on Facebook. Obviously, you can go to outoflives.net where the podcast is hosted and where other articles about TV shows, films and video games get posted. Aadil, if people want to talk to you directly, how do they do so?
They can call me at. They can reach me at the Omniarch on Twitter, Instagram, all of the things except Switch. Where if you want to be my Switch friend, especially now that I've got Mario Maker, and so there's functionally a reason to be a Switch friend. Although it's a totally different number because why would you want to?
You have to make it.
Why would you want that 13-digit code to be the only 13-digit code you memorized instead?
These are shorter. These are 9.
Wait, no. Wait, what? So your Switch code isn't the code?
No, that's the code to be friends on Switch and show up in your friends. But
I suppose that sort of makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. I get the like if you abstract away any idea of convenience, which is what Nintendo. Right? The idea that I want to interact with someone on Mario Maker because I like their level or whatever, so I'll be able to pick them out individually. But although Lucy was saying there might be more than one Mario Maker.
No, it does actually make sense in this case because you might want to follow somebody but not be their friend at the same time. It's like this person makes really good levels, but I don't know who this person is.
And I don't want them to know that I'm playing Box Boy.
Yeah, exactly.
But also that's everyone else
Larry,
friends list nonsense. But
yeah, so in this case, it actually does make sense. And you can just find individual level with a different code. So it actually does make sense. I think where it all falls apart is the fact that I don't think I, who am your friend already on Switch, can be like, oh, I just want to look at what Aadil's making in Mario Maker. I then have to go through the extra step, add in his...
Yeah, so you need to go online at the same time I'm playing it to know that I have the game if you have a more extensive list, and then message me and say, hey, what's your Mario Maker?
So in the grand scheme, it all makes sense until it falls down where it's like, oh, hold on, Nintendo, you're not doing the basic thing of how come I cannot play with the people I actually want to play with.
Yeah, but we also know that they haven't updated it with any sort of friends interaction anyway.
No, yeah. So that'll be coming later.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, it's good to know that we're still on like Wii U social interaction for Switch. So Lucy, if people want to get hold of you and talk to you / trade Mario Maker levels or stuff,
Pokemon or Pornhub use Juicy Loose 9 on everything. Just message me if you want my Switch ID / Mario Maker ID / level ID / national insurance number /
Good. I'm pretty sure they could also go into the Out of Lives Discord channel, which you'll find a link for on our Facebook page. I assume there's one on Twitter as well. I know you guys have been sort of throwing around your, your friend codes or your Mario Maker codes on the Out of Lives Discord as well, with people that are already in the Discord to kind of link up with and stuff and play levels and things with. So
but everyone's a loser and doesn't, except from the tanked up cast, bar Ben. Except Ben, because Ben's a loser.
Boo!
Get a Switch, man.
Boo.
Play some Mario.
Like you said, I could just not eat for a week and then I could buy a Switch.
You'll
but
survive.
I have a child.
At first, he'll be afraid, though.
Hey, I'll be fucking petrified. You can talk to me if you really want to. Everywhere at Nova_47.
Literally, you'll be petrified. You'll be a mummy after that. Not eating for a week.
Nah, he's still always going to be a daddy.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. One look from me and you'll be a mummy. That's how it works, right?
Damn, you got some skills, haven't you?
Woo! Like Ric Flair, mate. I don't know how that relates.
I mean, I think
anything with Ric Flair just works.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
Good.
Except probably Ric Flair.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yes, that's very true. So, for another week, we've been Tanks Up. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bella.
Oh, thank you. I assume you're talking to me, not Ben.
I would assume
so. Poor Ben.
www.outoflives.net